It was single sisters gathering, and the organizers had invited someone to share her life experience in order for the single ladies not to make the same mistake that she made years ago. The MC invited to the podium an old woman. She introduced herself as Ego Michael and pleaded that everyone present listen to her story in order for them to escape marital crisis as a result of desperation. And she started. Many years ago, I was so ambitious as a young lady and spent my youthful days building my career. I grew to the zenith of my career at 38 and realized that there was a vacuum to be filled up only by a man. Unfortunately, I had rejected the good men that came my way before then with the reason of being more educated, taller, classy, and richer than most of them. But at that age, I had decided to settle with anyone that comes without considering whatsoever. As a lady whose life revolved around going to the office in the morning and returning to the house late in the evening, I decided to loosen up by going out during weekends and driving to work once a week just for me to be seen. I soon became tired because none of these things produced a tangible result even after several months. I then re-strategized and started attending church services and decided to join a unit in my church. Sisters, not up to 2 months. After church service, I was tapped by a brother and he said to me, "Please, I can't find my phone. Can you please help me dial the number?" "Why not?" I responded. "Just call the number, please." And the brother called. And lo, when I called the number, his phone rang in his pocket. We both laughed, and I said to him that he must be thinking too much, that he didn't even realize that he had this phone in his pocket or feel the weight. And I told him to take it easy, for all will eventually be well. The brother thanked me and told me his name was Michael, and we departed. Later that day, at about past 4, my phone rang. It was a strange number. Being that I had loosened up a bit, I decided to take the call. And guess what? It was Michael on the line. He thanked me for what I did in church and said he has been admiring me and didn't know how to get my contact. And so he decided to pull that stunt. I laughed and said, "Congratulations, sir, you succeeded." And he said, "Yes, I did." We both laughed again, and he told me to save his number this time because he will always call and I should make sure that I take his calls. As someone who had been waiting for such an opportunity, I didn't hesitate. In fact, I saved it as my brother Michael. Dear sisters, we talked for so long. We have talked about deep things. He asked me about my family. He told me about his. And we cracked jokes. I was very happy because the last time a man spoke to me in such a manner was like 6 years ago. And so at that spot, I was determined to give him a positive response if he asked the question that my ears itched to hear. Because of this, I never missed any church service, and I was punctual as well. And after each service, we will sit and talk for some minutes before going home. Dear sisters, after 3 months, Michael wooed me, and your guess is as good as mine. I responded at the spot positively. And after 2 weeks, he walked up to me and said, "We are not so young, and to be so childish of us to be in a relationship for so long, all in the name of studying and wanting to know ourselves better." He said we have known ourselves for 6 months, and we have stayed without having issues or any arguments. And he thinks that we should inform our pastor and then start our wedding preparation immediately. I was so excited. I thought being an independent woman will level any marriage hurdle that will come my way. By this time, many ladies readjusted themselves on the seats because the story was getting more interesting. Ego continued. After church service on Sunday, we waited to see our pastor in his office. The pastor greeted and asked how he would be of help to us. Michael said, "I am Brother Michael and this is Sister Ego, my fiancée. We have come to tell you, sir, that we want to get married." "Wow!" the pastor exclaimed. "That's a good news and what we have been praying for. But can I ask, how well have you known each other? Because marriage is sacred and deep and not just what you jump into. What are your convictions that you both are meant for each other? Have you heard from the Lord?" The pastor said, "My sister, let me start from you. What has God said about this marriage? And what is your conviction?" "Dear sisters," I responded. In fact, I stammered. I said, "We met 6 months ago and our relationship is just 2 weeks plus. We decided that since we are both matured and haven't argued in our 6 months of knowing each other, that we will eventually do well as husband and wife." The pastor laughed and called me. He said, "Sister Ego, I will first appreciate your sincerity. But you see, Brother Michael and Sister Ego, you can't wed now. Marriage is too deep for you to venture into without knowing yourselves to an extent. And you also need to get a word from God that will keep you going when the storm arises. So I will assume that this meeting is just to know that you both are in a relationship." The pastor also added that it was okay if along the line we go our separate ways because of 1 or 2 reasons that we can't cope with in marriage. That it was better to marry late and end well than rushing into a mess all in the name of marriage and rushing out. The pastor prayed for us and we left. My dear sisters, Michael was so angry with me. He said to me, "I thought you were different, but women will always be women. Your mouth ran like a tap in there. Instead of you to say, 'I saw him in my dream, I was drenched and he came and covered me with an umbrella.' Just something creative. No. You just mess up the whole thing." I was confused because I didn't know what I did wrong. But being desperate, I simply apologized. And guess what he said to me? Michael said, "Look, I can't go through all those stages the pastor enumerated in there. We will simply go with our families and few friends to the registry for our wedding. After all, church wedding is not compulsory." He told me to go and put myself together because he had chosen next weekend. And if it's not okay by me, that I should also opt out. He then asked if I was going to go with him to the registry the next weekend or I wasn't. I thought within myself the years it took me to get him and how long it will cost me to get another. I responded his decision was very fine by me. He kissed me and said, "Don't worry, even the pastor will be surprised on how lovely our home will be." That brightened me up at least to an extent, and we departed. That weekend came, and children of God, we got married. We got married. At this time, Ego paused and cried. She continued, I only enjoyed that marriage for 1 week before I realized the beast that I got married to. Are we prepared to go to work? My husband will say that he wants pounded yam and a goosey soup for breakfast. Dear sisters, I will pull my clothes and make him the pounded yam, and I dare not leave until he's through so I can clear the table. He stopped me from going to church. He stopped me from communicating with my family. He changed my lines and made sure I use a small phone just to shut me out of the internet. A once envied lady became a shadow of herself. At this time, many sisters were already crying. And Ego said to them, don't cry yet, because the real gist is about to be rolled. She continued, that man made me miscarry 2 pregnancies because of incessant beatings. And the one that blew my mind was the last miscarriage. That night, I couldn't sleep. I was just reminiscing on my life and how blinded, foolish I was to have declined good men in my prime, only to end up with a beast. What did my husband do? He came to me and said, I am honey. I told him I'm in pains. I just miscarried the 2nd pregnancy, our baby, because of you. I can't get wet. I pleaded with him, at least not this night. Micah said, that's not a problem. I will help you get wet. He removed my clothes. As a woman who was nursing great pain, I ran out of the house with only pants and bra. Michael locked the door and vowed that I would spend the night in the cold, naked. I know some of you will be saying he won't do that because men are so jealous and won't allow his wife to be outside naked. Let me bust your bubbles. I slept outside in the cold just the way I ran out. He only opened the door at about 5:30 a.m. the next day and said, now you are wet. He pushed me on the bed and made his way through. Was it painful? No, it wasn't. It was beyond pain itself. It continued like that. Michael will hit me at any slightest provocation. My image was dented in the office because I was constantly going late to work. Everybody knew that all was not well with me. They saw the bruises, they saw how emaciated I became, and how my joy disappeared just because of wrong marriage. My only superior called me to her office one day and said to me, Ego, you are not in a marriage. Love is supposed not to hurt. Love is supposed to heal, to be the heaven you experience here on earth. You have lost 2 pregnancies within 1 year, meaning you have to take a decision and act fast. Live to live. Ego, it is better to be single, alive and happy than to be answering a missus whose life is full of mysteries. Guess what I told my superior? I told her that I loved my husband so well and that I was happily married and can't leave him because it took me years to be married. But deep down, I knew she was saying nothing but the truth. Deep down, I knew I was tired, not only for the marriage, but also tired of living. At this time, the hall was full of people crying. It was an emotional moment in the hall. Echo continued. I went back to him, and his wickedness tripled. I got used to the maltreatment and beatings. I became so scared of him. I saw him stronger and couldn't do anything to defend myself. My mother came visiting from the village one day. I went to open the gates, and he came right there, saw my mother and said, "Hey woman, you didn't inform me that you were coming." My mother said, "It's been long I heard from my daughter. I tried reaching her, but our phones are off, so I decided to come see her myself. My in-law, is that a crime?" Dear sisters, Michael said to my mother right before me, "Yes, it is a crime. Now leave my house." He locked the gates, and right there he slapped me. I fell because I wasn't expecting it, and he dragged me inside from the gate to the house on the floor. And he beat me blue black. He said I called my mother. I told him I didn't. He said he will kill me and bury me, and nothing will be said or done about it. That was when I realized that I needed to take actions immediately. Guess what he did? He asked me to enter into the bathroom, freshen up for him to perform his conjugal rites. Did I? Yes, I did, even in my bruises and pain. Few months after, I was determined to leave, but I then realized I was pregnant. And I didn't want to be a single mother. I decided to stay back and then avoid anything that will lead to beatings in order to save my baby's life. 3 months on, he beats me again. Yes, he did. This time more severe than the ones he has been doing before. But as a mother who was determined to save her baby's life, I told the doctor when I visited for antenatal to place me on bed rest. The doctor initially declined, saying I needed my husband more in my state. When I told him of all I've been going through and how many pregnancies I've lost in time past, he quickly made arrangements, spoke with my husband, and he signed. That was how I gave birth to Machi, my daughter. I was happy thinking that Michael would change because of our baby. Became worst. Children of God, he became worst. He said to me, "Weakling, you didn't even give me a male child. You gave birth to a girl. Pull your clothes right now." I didn't. He shouted, "No!" I did in fear. And my husband gave me a Bible. He said, "Swear with your nakedness and the Bible in your hands that I am the father of that child." I became heartbroken, but I still stayed. At this time, I was determined that nothing he does will make me leave, just because of my daughter, as I wouldn't want her to be bred by a single mother. He never helped, and I resumed house chores immediately. One fateful day, I was feeling so dizzy and I abandoned everything I was doing in the kitchen and I went to sleep. Michael returned from work. He didn't even listen to me. He didn't even consider my state as a nursing mother. He loosened the belt on his waist and pushed me on my baby. He gave me so many lashes as a kid. It eventually touched my baby. that Machi is still alive today is just by the mercies of God. My daughter became 3, and I saw her father extend the same energy to her. That was what brought out the beast in me. I told him, I will tolerate every ill thing from you. But you see, my daughter, she is a boundary you mustn't cross. Children of God, he dared and asked me to do my worst. He went to the bedroom, and I went to the kitchen, picked up a knife, and didn't know when I killed him. I carried the Machi to my mother and went to report myself to the police. The evidence of his beatings were on my body, but I served in the prison for so many years. And the doctor that was scared to train all alone, I have been doing it from that day even up to this moment, alone. So for my story, dear singles, please do not end up like me. Desperation kills. If people are coming your way now, pray, and with the help of the Holy Spirit, choose the right person and settle down, because time is going and they won't keep coming forever. And if you are married and you are in a chaotic marriage, fill up with domestic violence, live to live. Do not train your children in a toxic environment. Save your head first, and in your safe place, you can pray for your husband to change. The truth is, if you keep staying because of whatever reason, you may be killed or you may end up being the murderer. Live and please stay decent. It is not the time to keep changing men as clothes or to scatter people's home. It is a time to seek God to still the storm. People could no longer contain their tears. They were crying out so loudly. And Machi said to them, it is okay to cry, but it is more important that you do not make the same mistake that I made. In order for you not to share your story, I mean ugly story, just the way I am doing. If you are in a wrong relationship, that the signs are there already, quit now. Quit now. Quit now. It is better to have a broken relationship than to have a broken home. God bless you. Hey, Africa Tales by Karma Tribe. I know you have learned 1 or 2 things. I also know this is a life lesson story that must have made 1 or 2 people emotional. If you have an experience that you would like to share for 1 or 2 people to learn from, please feel free to do so in the comment section. If you have not liked or subscribed, please do and share this video as well so that YouTube algorithm can show it to more people. Thank you. Till I bring another story your way, it's a goodbye from here. God bless you.